Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Abdul and today I'm going to show you how can we use auto layout and components in Figma. So let's get started. So I just made a new Figma file and I will just create a simple screen. I think I have a specific thing to use. Wait. There's like this iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max free template, which I do actually like to use more than once. So let me just copy it. Okay, I will just use this. I will copy it. I will just take those, yeah. I'll just copy them. We come back to our file and we can now just start to create things. So let me just create a iPhone 15 Pro Max frame, copy those, and we can just use them right here. No, wait, let me do it the same size as them in terms of, okay, cool. So now we will just use these in our app. Cool. Now we can just modify them from like, I won't both make them transparent, and this one will just make it white. And then for the background, I'm going to use like a bluish color, much more like this one. Yeah, I think this one looks good. So we have this our screen, and I'll just call it login because I'm just going to create a login form. And I will show you now, before doing this screen, let's just explain a little bit about auto layouts, and then we can go with components. So what is auto layout? So basically auto layout is telling Figma that I'm going to use like grid systems instead of just, for example, let's say that I'm going to create a button, okay? So, and then I'll create a text and let's say button. It's pretty like, how can I say that? Pretty annoying. So when I change the size of the button, the word is not in the middle. So there's no auto layout. It's not like me telling Figma to make this word has a specific margin from top, I mean padding from all the sides. So that's what is auto layout. So now let's just do another example so we can explain. So I will just create a frame instead of rectangles because we use frames in auto layout. And let me just create a small rectangle in the middle. And I will, for the frame, I will add an auto layout. See? Now we have an auto, this is no auto layout and this is auto layout. And now, as you can see, we have specific paddings and margins based on these. So now this thing is the padding from the sides and this is padding from the top. So for example, I will make both 0. Cool. And I will make the frame bigger, but they are still 0. And then I will just make this in the middle. I mean, make it a little bit smaller, like this. And in the auto layout now, we can see how this works. Because I don't have any type of margins right now, I can just put them wherever I want. So I want them in the middle. And now, see, even if I change the height, the size, it's still in the middle. And that's incredible. Let me show you another thing. Now if I have another triangle that has the same, like not triangle, rectangle, and I put it, see, it will put both in the middle. I could take it from away or give it back in. And I also could specify where do I want these things to be. So I could make them side by side or rows. So I could now create another one and put it as its own grid system and row, and that's super beautiful, super good, and super incredible. So now let's complete with this things like, now we have the gap between the elements we can also play with. And when you play with this, you can actually understand everything. So that's it. That's how layout actually is. So now we explained layout in a pretty easy way. And now we can use our login page so to explain layout and also components. So let's start by explaining what is a component. A component basically is, for example, let's say now I have this rectangle, and this rectangle I'm going to use this rectangle. You know what? Let's create a button instead of a rectangle. So let me just create a simple button pretty fast. So click me, as in the middle, let's just add any type of color for now. So I'm just going to make it gray with white and maybe border radius as well. Cool. Let's make this a little bit bigger. What do you think? Yeah, 25 maybe? Cool. So we have this button now. It's called click me, and maybe I'm going to use this button more than once. So instead of me just always copy, 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 I could make an instance out of it by just making a component. And now I could just go to my assets, components in my file, and use it. See? And the great thing about these components is that if I change this, everything will be changed. See how cool this thing is? So I could add animations to this, I could add a few things in it, and this will change as well. But let's get back. Before adding and make this a component, let's add an auto layout to it to make sure that this will be always in the middle. See? Cool. Wait a second. Okay, so let's complete. So now I added auto layout to this button so I can make it like dynamic like that. And then I could just create a component from it, and then use this component throughout my like app, and I could change things in it, and cool. But maybe let's say that I want to add like a hover effect, and I will show you this in a second. So simply, let's say that like we can create variants from this component. So when I click on this add variant, now we have two variants. Before this, let me just rename the whole component to button. And this one, I will just call it the default, and this one I will call it the hover variant. And now I could just change the colors, for example, to white. Not white, let me just go to transparent. But I could add like a stroke of this color of 2 maybe, and even the white, I'll just make it the same color as this. So I want this to be the hover effect. So now when I create a new instance, I could now choose from default to hover, hover to default. It's just pretty great so far, right? What if I want to change, I want to make like the click me thing as like a variable that I could change. What do I mean by this? So let's say that those two, let's stick with the first one. This click me thing, I could add a property to it. See, now I could just go here and wait, add a new property, and I will just call it button text. Create property. And the same thing for this one, I could just assign it to the one that I just created. So what does this mean? So now when I have this, I could now change the button text, for example, to don't click me. And even if I switch to the hover, I will still have the same value because they are both connected. They have the same property. And that's super, super cool so far. What if we want to add like some buttons? Not buttons, I mean an icon. So let me just bring some icons from Icon Scout because I like Icon Scout. And let me just like bring a click icon. For example, I think this one looks, no, wait. Okay, let me search for free ones, because okay, this one looks great. Let's just insert it, take it, and let's modify things in it. For example, we don't want these tags, I mean these things. We will use this alone without the frame as well, and we can just scale it with K, and now we can use this in the button. But let me now just make the layout side by side. Now we could just make this a little bit smaller. Let me just make the frame bigger. I could maybe now I will use this as well. So let's say that we don't want 102 for like this a lot. I will go maybe for 50, and the gap I'll just make it bigger between the elements if we do have any type of elements. So let's stick with this. Like click me, an icon. Maybe I could just make this kind bigger, maybe. Yeah. Let's I think I'll stick with like this. Let me just remove this. Cool. Forget about like the overall looks, and just me now like trying to tell you how we work with components, etc. So now we have like this click me thing, and now we could create a variant from it. Is this a variant? Okay. Now we can create like a variant from these, and we'll call this not button 2, like a hover effect. And again, I'll just put the fill transparent, the white colors to this gray color, and stroke of 2 with the same color as this. Do we make this transparent? Probably we didn't. Or we did, I don't know. Yeah, cool. So now this is the hover effect, and this is the normal button. And we have also made that these two are button text right now. Now we can change them. And also these, I want to add a property to it, but not in the text because they're not text, in the appearance. I could add a property and just call it show icon and create property. And now look how cool this thing is. Now when I add a button, I could show the button, the icon, and remove it. Show the icon and remove it. See how cool this thing is? I could now change the word. I could now switch to the hover effect. And that's how components work in Figma. It's just pretty cool, pretty great, pretty simple. So now let's do the same thing in the login form. So let's say I'm just going to add a text. I'm going to use San Francisco Bro and type login. Let's make it bigger, like 30 maybe. Let's go with bold. And before this, let me just add a layout grid columns. We'll choose one column, make it white, and margin 20. So layout grid is simply will just show me some like guidelines to work with. So I love to work on mobile apps with 20 margins and just start doing this. So now I could put like a login, no, another text and say, please sign in to continue. And maybe we could make it like 18, regular, put it under it, and we're not going to use white, we're just going to use the bluish color, sorry, with some white on it. Maybe 80%, no, 50%. Yeah, 50%. Let me just close the layout grid. So cool. Now we can just put the input fields maybe. Okay, we need back the layout grids. So let's do something like that. Border radius a lot. Full border radius with the color of also the bluish one with the 80% white or 50%, I forgot. It was 50%. Cool. Now let me just remove the icon. I think 50 is a lot for this one, so let's stick with like 20 maybe. Yeah, that's much more better. And now we can add, we could just make it smaller. We could now add like a label. I will just make it 15. Say, for example, this is that email. Wait, so I'm just going to create an email label 15. Cool. Okay, so let's complete. So I'm going to create this label. I think that does look okay. Now we can, instead of this, let's just, instead of rectangle, let's go with like a frame. Much more convenient. So we'll create a frame, and again, no, give it the same border radius, full, with a fill color. Again, this color with, I think, 20% whites. Yeah, cool. And why did we create a frame? Because I want to use an auto layout. Okay, instead of, so let me now just put the column white, come here, cool. Because we used auto layout right now, I'll make everything here. I don't care about this for now. I'll just make it till here. And for the clip content, I will just make this like maybe 20. 20 is great so far. See how auto layout is incredible. It gives you like a lot of things to do, etc. So here I will just type enter your email, like a placeholder, and the color will be the same as the background again, with like 80% of whites maybe. Let me just remove this layout grid. Yeah, we could just make it 70%, which is okay. 60. I think 60 is great. Okay. So now we just created this email field. We can just make this a little bit down. And it's okay. It's completely fine so far. I think now maybe we could just make it, cool. Now, using this, we could make a component. Let me demonstrate this. So now we can just, instead, before creating a component, let me just make these also an auto layout. Yeah, cool. And then I will just create a component. So I will then make a big frame with the same color, and this frame will just be the components frame. So let me use this. So this is the instance. I could create variants of these instances. I need 3 variants. Why? I'll show you now. So first variant, then we'll create a new variant. The first variant will be this. The second variant will be when this is focused. So stroke, white, see? And not just this, also there's like a text in it. And I will call this text example at gmail.com, for example, and I will just make it white as a text. Cool. At the end, I will just make the same thing here, but with a red stroke, something like this, and we will use the same red for the email. Cool. So this means that this is like an error message, etc. And also we can just add the same thing down. Let me just make it bigger because we use auto layout. See how easy this is. And this I will just make it maybe 13 for the font, and I will be like this, or like the email field is required. Or like just type the email input is required. I think we could just make it smaller, maybe 12. Let me now see. Yeah, this is cool so far. So as you can see, guys, now we have like this component has 3 variants and all. Now we will do something pretty incredible. So this email and this email and this email are all should have the same property. So we'll just create a new property and just call it label. See? And the same thing, but this one, it's not the same as this one. So we'll just take this one and create a property for it, and I will just call it placeholder. Create property. Now for this one and this one as well should have 2 same property. Let's call it text. And this one should also have its own property called error. Cool. Now let me just name the whole component as input. This one is default, this one called focus, and this one called error. Cool. Now let's complete. So I will just also add some interactions like prototype, or you know what, let's not add anything for now. So what does this mean? I will show you now in a moment. So now in the login now, we can just add this component. Let me just turn on the column and look what we're going to do right now. We will just create a new one, the same instance, and these two both will be an auto layout. I'm just going to create an auto layout to them. Let me just maybe, I think 11 is good. No, I think it could be a little bit taller. Yeah, oh, longer, I'm sorry. I think that's great so far. I think we could just make a little bit down. Cool. Okay. So now for this one, I have things to change, as you can see. So it's not email, it's password now, right? It's not enter your email, it's enter your password. Cool. And no, not this one. Sorry, I mean the second one. Oh my god. No, wait. I'll just call it email again. And this one I'm going to change. So password and enter your password. And let me just say something, that because we use auto layout for this frame, now when the error message, let me show what I mean, gets into the in the scene, the gap will always be the same, and that's why we auto layout is great. So I hope you like so what I'm talking about. So for the password, I will go to the error one and I will change it so that password input is required, not the email. Cool. And that's it. Look how incredible this thing is. Now we could push this thing a little bit more by going up here and add some interactions. Prototype, interaction, on tap, change to, focus, and let's go with smart animate. Let's stick with instant. And this one again, interaction, on tap, change to, error. And this one on interaction, on tab, change to the first value, which is default. Cool. So now when we preview this, let me not preview this and show you. Look now how this will work. See? It's pretty good. It shows the developer actually, how can we, what do you want from the design? I mean, now we can change a lot of things because, and you can just change the component itself. So for example, this I want to make it 70%. I want to make this a little bit higher. Also for these both components, I want the stroke to be 2 instead of 1. Cool. So now we can preview again and see how cool now they are. And the only thing I forgot to do in this specific instant of the component, which is the text, I want to change it to, let's go with XXXX for now. That means like the password. Cool. Look how good this thing is. So we now learned how can we make a component and make this component changeable. We can change the text, we can change a lot of things, etc. So look how beautiful this thing is. So now let's do the same for the button. What do you think so? Yeah? So let's now just get back here, go to the default value as well, also the default value as well. And let me just create a button pretty fast. Let's go with 500, always 500. And then choose the color. I will just go with the same colors, but like turquoise one. Yep, this one looks pretty good. I'll try to make it the same size, maybe. Yeah. And now guess what? I will just choose, I will put this in the auto layout under it. So now this one and this one and this one all should have 11 like things between them. Not things, like 11, like 16 pixels, not 11. Okay, we switch to 16. So now even when this email has the error pop in, everything will go down. And that's why auto layout is super great. So now let's complete. So for this one, I will just create a text. No, not this one. I mean in, or you know what? Let me just add an auto layout for this one too. I think we can add an auto layout for this. I mean, it should. I think we should use a frame instead of rectangle to make it auto layout. We will see now. So fill the turquoise color that we liked, bluish one. Cool. 500 border radius. And now we can add auto layout to it, even if it's here. Yep, we can still add an auto layout to it, so that's great. So now we'll just add a text in the middle saying sign in. I'll put it in the middle. And simply now I think that's 15. With this, I'll just add an auto layout to make this in the center all the time. See? Cool. And now from this one, I will add a component, make it a component, and remove it away to the component frame that we have right here. And now we can just name it to button, add a variant, and this one will be like the hover effect. The hover. We could add something like color will be transparent, black will be the same turquoise color with a stroke of 2 with a turquoise color as well. Now we'll just make some interactions like prototype interaction on tap, change to the hover effect, not on tap, sorry, on mouse enter. And for this one, I will do the same thing on mouse sleeve this time. We will go to the default value. So let's now complete. So now on mouse sleeve, it should change to default instant, etc. So yeah, that's cool so far. Also for the sign-in word and this word, I also want to make a property to it. And I'll just call it text. Cool. Also, let me show you another cool thing in Figma, which is super cool. I'll just create like alt, and I'll make instance of these, put it down, and maybe you'll see a warning because they both have like the same name, etc. I'll show you what we're going to do right now. We will just make this smaller buttons, and these two we could make them as okay, let's now complete. So now we could add for those two, how can I say this, like a variant. Okay, I'm trying to remember how can we do this. I think we should like maybe copy and paste those. I think we can do like change the, oh yeah, see? So now they have like different variant name. I should just call them the same, which is default. And I'll show you now what I mean, why I'm going to do this. And for this one, I'll just call it hover as well. And see that the properties of and value of this variant are conflicting because both have the same name. And that's what we want now, because now we want to make those two specific, like a specific, like a specific variant, okay? So let me now show you what I mean about this. So now we can just create a new, like this property. Okay, so now let me explain okay, now it's occurred to me. So basically we created those big buttons and the same, but the smaller size with the same properties, see the default, and this will make a conflict. To fix this conflict in the big like whole frame, I will create a property and just call it large. So this is like those two are large sizes. You know what I mean? I mean, no, I'll just call it, sorry. I will just not call it large, I'll just call it like state. This is for the buttons, and I will create a new one. I'll create a new property and just call it instant swap, not instant swap, sorry, variant, and call it like size. It has large for now. So those two have the large one, and those two should have a new one called small. So I hope you guys now understood what I did. So basically I created the same variants, and Figma told me there's a conflict because they do have the same thing, like they do have the same state, and those two have the same state. So what I did is just give a new thing for the whole, for every, like for the whole property here, not just the state for everyone. I also gave size for everyone by just clicking this, not this, sorry, clicking on the plus sign and put a new variant. And that's all of it. So now we can just go to assets, take this button, put it in auto layout, and now we can just go for large to small, maybe see how cool this thing is. And we can maybe make this everything in the middle. See, it's super cool, super incredible, but for now we're just gonna stick with large. And now we can go to preview and preview everything. See? So that's how can we actually like learn a little bit about auto layout and components. And if you did this, you basically mastered components, because components now is so much easier than you think, and maybe it's the hardest thing so far, but like in Figma, but it's, trust me, it's not. So yeah, I hope you like this video. It's simple enough to show you how you can like have a little bit knowledge of auto layout. And if you want to get like better at auto layout, just play around. Don't watch another video, because this is all you need. And we talked about variants, how we can create variants and properties, how can we create a big, you know, properties for each variant in it. So that's super cool so far. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you like this video. Yeah, thanks.